Chapter 7, Hard-Boiled Egghead. Sometimes I wonder why I even bother to play baseball at all. I hate the uniforms, I can't throw, and I don't like playing right field. Lately, I've been giving this a lot of thought, and there's only one thing I can come up with. I play for the Caps. Baseball caps are probably the greatest invention of all time. No matter what you look like, as soon as you put on a baseball cap, you automatically look like a ball player. A real ball player, I mean. Like Bobby Bonds or Ken Griffey Jr. or Cal Ripken. I'm not kidding. Even my cat looks like a little like Ripken with a cap on. Once, just to prove my theory, I did a baseball cap experiment with my grandmother. My grandmother's about 80 years old, but she doesn't look it. She doesn't need a cane or anything, and she only wears glasses when she reads. One of the things I like best about my grandmother is her blue hair. It sort of reminds me of cotton candy. I'm not sure that she really knows it's blue, though. A few months ago at Sunday dinner, she told my mother that she puts on a steel gray rinse on it. I started to tell her that it looked more like a robin's egg blue color, but my mother shoved a roll in my mouth. Anyway, after we finished eating, I snuck up to my room and grabbed my baseball cap. Then I crept up behind my grandmother and put it on her head. Aha! Just as I had always suspected. She was a dead ringer for Tino Martinez. Grandma wasn't a very good sport about it. She yanked my cap off her head and threw it on the floor. Man, was her blue hair ever a mess. Now she looked like Don King, that boxing promoter guy. I tried to help her smooth it, but she swatted my hand away. Not before I noticed the bald spot, though. Right at the top of her head, Grandma had a little bald spot. I offered to let her put my cap on to hide it, but she left the table in a huff. I know exactly how she felt. My barber, Mr. Peoples, he has given more bald spots to me than I can count. I'll never forget the time he made my head look like a cue ball. Looking back, it was probably my own fault, though. As soon as I walked in his shop that day, it was obvious that Mr. Peoples was not in a good mood. And it's a well-known fact that when barbers are feeling down, they give kids funny haircuts to cheer themselves up. That's why I always try to find out how Mr. Peoples is feeling before I sit down in the chair. But on this particular day, it didn't do me any good at all. "Hello, Mr. Peoples," I said pleasantly. "How are you today? Arthritis acting up? Problems with the wife?" Mr. Peoples frowned. "Get in the chair, Alex. I'm tired, my feet hurt, and I'm not in the mood for your jokes." Right away, I started backing out of the shop. "Okie dokie, well, nice chatting with you, Mr. P. I think I hear my mother calling for me from the parking lot. I'll come back another day when your feet are feeling better." Mr. Peoples pointed to the chair. "Sit," he ordered. Mr. Peoples has known me since I was 2, so he feels comfortable bossing me around like that. I hesitated. "I don't know, Mr. Peoples. Are you sure? Are you positive that you want me to sit down? Because if you're upset about something, I'd be happy to leave you alone to gather your thoughts." This time his face got totally red. "I said sit," he blustered. Nervously, I climbed into the big vinyl seat. A man holding scissors is not a man to mess with. "Well, okay then, Mr. Peoples, but I really don't need a big haircut today. Mostly all I need is just a little trim, just a little bit off the sides, that's all." Mr. Peoples didn't hear a word I said. He was too busy plugging in his electric clippers. "No, wait, Mr. Peoples," I said quickly. "I really don't think you'll be needing the clippers today. I just need a trim, remember?" His mood wasn't getting any better. "Who's the barber here, Alex, you or me?" That's when I decided to be quiet. If there was one thing I didn't want to do, it was to make this guy any grouchier than he already was. Mr. Peoples took his scissors and began snipping at my hair. No, wait, snipping's not the right word. He was hacking. Mr. Peoples started hacking at my hair. "Whoa, you're really going to town there, aren't you, Mr. P? It's getting kind of short, don't you think?" I asked. That's when Mr. Peoples picked up the clippers and began buzzing all around the back of my head. Before I had a chance to protest, he was already heading up towards my left ear. Then, all of a sudden, he stopped cold. "Whoopsie," he said. My stomach turned over inside me. Of all the words that you don't ever want to hear your barber say, whoopsie is right at the top of the list. "Whoopsie? Did you just say whoopsie, Mr. Peoples? Whoopsie, like a mistake has occurred?" I looked in the mirror and turned my head. That's when I saw the whoopsie. It was a large round bald spot over my left ear. Mr. Peoples brushed the area lightly with his fingers. Looks like this haircut might be a little bit shorter than you wanted, Alex, but at least it'll be nice and cool for the summer. My eyes opened wide. The summer, I said. The summer? This is March, Mr. Peoples. The summer is still months away.